Hello, everybody, and welcome to the next episode of Cubism. As normal, I'm Aaron.
I'm Drew.
And today we're talking about kind of a recurring, a new segment we've kind of been doing, and that's sets after the fact. So Ixalan officially came out last week, and that means we've had at least 3 months of Our Devastation. So Our Devastation, going into it, there was, with Amonkhet, Our Devastation, even to Ixalan, it felt, kind of powered down sets. Maybe there wasn't a lot of cards to talk about, maybe not a lot of cards that would perform well. And so, I'd like to talk about, kind of taking a second look at sets kind of after the fact to see maybe cards we underrated, cards that we hyped up, that just didn't perform. So we're going to talk about cards that I guess did poorly first, cards that, we kind of went into that people were really excited about, that maybe just didn't perform quite as well. And obviously this is very opinion-based, so Drew and I obviously have some differences in terms of this list.
For once.
For once. But at the very, very bottom of the list is I have Claim to Fame.
Well, I didn't even try this card, so you're going to have to, for the fans at home, the dozens of viewers.
So Claim to Fame looks like a great card on the surface. Unfortunately, it fits into... Well, actually, that's not even true. Fortunately, it fits into the Rakdos attack deck, which is very, very popular, but ultimately not that good. Generally, a really, really good aggressive red deck is just like very good red deck. The only time you really find yourself playing black cards is when you pick up, Thoughtseize effects. But other than that, you only ever really splash black when you just don't have enough good red cards. So, generally, the red-black deck just doesn't seem to... You just end up having a bad red deck, ultimately. And Claim to Fame, while it looks like it should fit into that deck, unfortunately, like I said, because I'm fairly convinced that the black version of the red deck is bad, Claim to Fame kind of sat on the sidelines a little too much. Even with the... I know we kind of talked about the dream of being able to reanimate creatures and be able to fame it into play, or fame it and make it attack really fast. Unfortunately, that just didn't really come true. So another card that performed, and I think this card is probably size, like directly size related.
450 versus 540 versus 630.
Yeah, so I think at a smaller size, I don't quite need this card, and that card is Nimble Obstructionist.
Well, I kind of like this card, but it's more of just because it's a Flash 3/1. It might have some other ability. Doesn't really matter. But it's a Flash 3/1, so it's aggressively costed for 3, and it's really easy to cast. So that's going in. That's what I want. And besides the fact it countered my Liliana ultimate once, besides that, it's kind of exactly what it's been doing. So I'm happy with that.
Yeah, I guess the flashy the creature I didn't really need so much, so I kind of leaned a little more on the stifle effect, and it didn't really quite fit the role I wanted it to. So ultimately, it performed worse than I thought it would, though I was a little skeptical kind of going into it. But that being said, I played the card even in like the newest iteration of the Modern Cube on Magic Online, and I was like kind of happy playing that card. I know my opponent also at some point could have stifled my Liliana trigger ultimate, but I saw it and was able to play around it, I guess. But those are the two cards that, we went into kind of high hopes, unfortunately fell a little flat, at least for me. So cards that, there are a lot of cards that went in, we were kind of medium on them, they performed as expected, and that's cards like Our Devastation. Our Devastation was a fine card. You kind of knew what you were getting when you adding into your list.
It's a 5-mana, kills most things.
Yeah, not that much excitement. But it's still a great card, and because that card's done as well as I thought it would, it's made me relook at cards like Wildfire, because like Wildfire had been underdrafted for quite some time. But Wildfire, there's kind of like the players who like drafting that kind of card, and they haven't been around as much.
If you like the card, you'll find ways to make it work if it's at all playable.
Yeah, so unfortunately, the Wildfire, my Wildfire is currently sitting on the sidelines while Our Devastation takes its spot. And my red-blue players are pretty happy about it. But another card that's performed fine. I kind of wish it performed better than I expected, even though, again, you kind of knew it would, and that's Supreme Will. So I know you weren't necessarily sold on it. You're a big fan of Complicate. I've added Supreme Will, which is the Impulse Mana Leak glued together for 3 mana. And it's been fine. Like, I'm happy playing it. I'm never disappointed to have it. I'm never disappointed to find a hole for it. I really like the artwork on it.
How often do you use the Impulse side?
Very often. You use the Mana Leak part for the first couple turns of the game. Afterwards, you just, obviously, pass turn 5, 6.
50-50.
Yeah. Yeah, you know what? I've probably casted more as a Mana Leak, but it's very, very close. And another card that's performed well, that we didn't actually talk about at all, is Champion of Wits. So very often, just like with Amonkhet, we didn't talk about Glorybringer at all. There's a Champion of Wits is a card we just glossed over, didn't even consider it. Probably because, at least for me, the big turnoff was its huge Eternalized cost.
Like 7?
Yeah.
Basically 20.
Basically $1 million. But you know, it's funny thing. The first time I ever drafted it, I Eternalized it for it's a full 7. So Champion, I like it. What did I cut for it? I was trying Wharf Infiltrator as another looty kind of effect. And it was okay, you know, every now and then you start making a bunch of Eldrazi's, but very, very rarely. It didn't come up that often. So Champion of Wits kind of fits in that hole, while also just being like a interesting blue-green card, or even interesting rampish kind of card that you can Eternalize later on and get a kind of a big payoff.
Well, I did it recently. I haven't got a chance to actually play it yet, but I think it's a step in the right direction where I can fuel some more aggressive graveyard-based themes. I'm actually going to try out Ishkana because of this Champion of Wits and Charter Course.
Yeah, Charter Course cool card too.
And since these things all incidentally loot if you want them to, or this one does whether you want to or not, you might be able to hit Delirium. So
yeah, the cool thing I like about actually creatures like Champion of Wits, even something like Eldrazi Deep Fiend, which is a card you've also recently added, is it makes the blue-green cards synergize better. Because in the past, you just kind of had green cards with blue draw effects, or a control deck with a Tarmogoyf or like another win condition, where now they're starting to like kind of mold and kind of meld well together. So I'm very happy with these kind of creatures coming out and existing that are fine in their each respective colors, but still good together. So I guess another card that's been, I guess for you, it's performed just as expected. For me, I kind of underrated it, and that's a Braid. So a Braid was the shatter effect that I wasn't really looking for. That
we deserved.
Wasn't good. Yeah, it was the shatter effect we deserved. That I wasn't super excited about, but obviously it started taking over Standard really, really quickly. It made me kind of want to try the card, get taking a look at it, and I've added it and been very happy with it since. I like the idea of it having this incidental artifact hate alongside a red card you're already fairly happy playing. So I've been very happy with it.
You didn't remove a shatter effect to add this? You just
No, I
did.
Well, I don't really have a dedicated shatter effect, so it's literally the only one I have now, at least in red.
I still have the bear. Whatever he's called.
Oh, the
Manic Vandal.
Yeah, Manic Vandal. Actually, my notes here are incorrect on the next card that we're going to talk about. So it's a Scarab God. So the Scarab God was a card that we talked about a lot coming into the new Dimir section, the new Dimir creature, and I've been very, very, very happy with it. It's come out. It's hard to deal with. It takes over games really, really fast. You're kind of skeptical. Maybe it's a little slow. Maybe it doesn't do enough. But that card kind of gets going real fast.
I think he's a little harder to kill than I thought he would be.
Mm-hmm.
Based on he has no real protection abilities. But I've kind of forced him a little bit. Like, I'm going to snap this guy up and force this Grixis deck or something like that. And he resolves and he generally wins because they can't kill him. I don't know why. But
yeah, and being able to play him and Eternalize in the same turn is huge. And that's not too much to ask for in those kind of decks. Any kind of mana rocks, and it's not too much at all. So even like its influence in Standard now, I'm not even sure if you've paid attention, but that card's
not really. I do
know it's like I will not be surprised.
Kind of splashes in the Temur decks. A bit.
Yeah, I will not be surprised if it's $50 by the time this video comes out.
The foil ones,
regular ones,
regular
ones, $50 Canadian. So like all the Temur energy decks slowly started splashing this in Standard just because of how powerful it is, how hard it is to remove. It takes over games, and now.
When your win conditions are really resilient like that, you can afford to play less.
Everyone's running around with Glorbringers, Bristling Hydras, that kind of stuff. Being able to buy them back. You obviously have energy. You can take advantage of these cards too. It's huge.
Doesn't die to Glorybringer.
Yeah. So the cards are very, very good. Sultai Energy was a new deck from last weekend. That's also plays Scarab God. They'll never play one, but it's always seemed to be enough. But the card's been more than great. I've been very, very happy with it. I wish the other gods were as good as Scarab God was, but...
Rank the dimmer spot?
So, I think I still like... I want to say like Dragonlord Slumgar more, because I love that card. But it's really hard to argue with Scarab God. So, like, my immediate reaction is Dragonlord Slumgar,
okay,
which is probably wrong. Scarab God.
Okay.
Which, it's so hard to choose between Slumgar, Scarab God, Baleful Strix. Because I want all these cards on all my decks at all points. they're all so good. It's funny too. With Hostage Taker, you can just have a entirely creature Dimir section, which is really weird.
That's a little unnatural.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like I'm adding Hostage Taker to try it out, and it'll be those 4 cards, 4 creatures, which is so weird out of a Dimir spot.
When you think about it, their spells aren't impressive overall.
Yeah, they're not. Yeah,
Like far and away is
black spells by themselves are fine. Blue spells by themselves are fine. Creatures together, they're all very, very, very good. It seems to be where their gold cards seem to stand out. So it seems to be the natural evolution of Dimir cards.
natural evolution of Magic in general, though, right?
What do you think? What are your?
I think I like Baleful Strix just because it's cheaper.
It's so good.
It's
Baleful Strix is
fit it in
sweet.
everything.
But I guess Slumgar and Scarab God are my let's say 1-2 or vice versa, because those are the cards I want to play Dimir for. I want to play Blue Black.
You'll first pick those things, but you won't first pick a Baleful Strix.
I'll first pick either. I get any of them, but I'm more so inclined to first pick the reward of Scarab God or Slumgar.
But does Baleful Strix pull you into Dimir from the first pack, where the Scarab God?
It makes me heavily consider it.
Heavily.
It's like it's not as rewarding as either of the other two. So
Yeah, it's probably Strix, probably Slumgar, then Scarab God for me right now. We'll see.
All creatures though, which is hilarious.
Yeah.
So the next card we're going to talk about is another card that I thought the original would be better, and that's Nicobolus God Pharaoh. So when we first talked about this card, I was like, I'm fairly positive the original one's going to be better. It's more impactful.
It has a guaranteed you can kill something immediately.
Yeah, but no, like Nicobolus God Pharaoh, you play that card a couple times, you realize just quite how powerful that card is. Like I've closed out many games with just 7ing my opponent, and old Nicobolus couldn't do. Like the exiling both cards in their hand, just rolling dice, taking cards out of the deck. The card is very, very powerful, has a lot of loyalty. I'm just impressed with how much it's played out better than I thought it would ever.
So I played this card the first time when I was drafting your cube, and I first picked the Bolt, like exciting, and then the second pick this Nicobolus. Like, well, let's see how this guy does because I don't like him right now. And by the end of the cube, which I believe we won, I'm not sure, but I'm going to say on record that we won it. I am a fan of them, so I'm going to try and find a foil one, which is proving quite difficult.
Yeah, someone is posting locally looking for them, and they seem to be drawing up pretty fast. The card's obviously
I'd pay
popular.
more than that guy, though, so I guess I should post, but I'm pretty lazy.
I'll pay you in all the Fusion Gaming credit I have.
Even Mudholes have got 170 of them.
So the last card we're going to talk about really quickly is another card that's, I think we brushed off pretty hard as just not good, and that's Earthshaker Kenra. And if you take a look at Standard at all, you can see that we were very wrong. And obviously Standard's a different beast than Limited is.
Usually things bleed through.
But I think we undervalued the 1 in a red 2/1 haste. Just like that part of the card.
It's got the camp block.
Yeah, it has like I wanted to call it the Falter effect, but Falter isn't correct.
Falter effect.
Well, you wanted to call it the actual effect. Falter isn't at all what it actually does. But
if they have one creature, it is, and it doesn't fly.
Yeah, just like I feel even like Ash Zealot. Ash Zealot is red 2/2 haste. It has first strike randomly too. That card's fine, but again, I think we just underrated the raw value of 2 mana 2/1 haste. A creature probably can't block. And then its Eternalized thing still doesn't come up as much as I don't think it's ever come up, to be honest. I don't think someone's ever done it on my cube yet.
6 mana is a lot.
6 mana is a lot, but just the face value of the card, even without the Eternalized part, has been a lot better than predicted. I've been very happy with it.
It's on my list to add.
Like the Ramunap red deck in Standard has impressed me so much that I added what's his name?
Ancrop Crasher.
Ancrop Crasher too, the 3 mana 3/2 haste. Exert creature can't block. It wasn't that long ago that I played something. A year or two ago, that I played something like Bogor Ramgang in red, just to have a 3 mana 3/3 haste, and it's Ancrop Crasher is that kind of card that also has this can't block clause and is super easy to cast. So I'm kind of surprised I kind of didn't. Red flags were going off sooner. I haven't had a lot of time to test that card yet, so I ultimately don't have a final verdict on that guy. But Ramunap Red has to be one of the better red decks in Standard ever. The deck's so efficient.
I don't know a lot about Standards.
Yeah. So I guess that's it. Those are the cards that's from our Devastation that have impressed us, and some not so much. Let us know what cards you think, what cards did well for you. Like I said, it's very, the card's a lot of subjective. People don't like playing Nicol Bolas. You got no time for 7 mana. Maybe people like playing, Nimble Instructionist as a flying Ambush Viper.
It's good. It's a little bit more powerful than a Pestromite.
Yeah, having 3 power is huge. It's like Vendilion Clique. It's easy to cast. That's like the best part about it, I guess.
It is the best part about it.
2 and blue is great.
If it was blue, colorless, nope, hard out.
Yeah, that'd not be good. But I guess that's it, yeah. So that's been our Devastation 3 months later. Our Devastation after the fact.
After the fact? I like that better than 3 months later.
Alright, maybe I'll title it that then.
Okay.
Maybe. So yeah, I guess as always, thanks for checking us out. I'm Aaron.
I'm Drew.
And have fun cubing.